So here's the truth that I think most people aren't realizing nowadays. I work with a lot of founders, a lot of ambitious people, a lot of very smart people that have worked at Google, people who have gone to Yale or Harvard, and they build like incredible products, right? I'm here in Cambridge. MIT is only a couple hundred feet away from me. I meet these people, and despite their intelligence, despite how hard they work, they build products that go absolutely nowhere. And when I talk to them, it becomes clear. It's because they never validated their product with real people. They were never going out there and talking with users before building something. Instead, they're in this bubble here in Cambridge, here in Boston, with their Harvard friends, all these smart people, and doing almost zero market discovery or market fit because they don't need to. They're surrounded by smart people that tell them they're doing great work. So that's why in today's video, I just want to talk to you guys about how we can test ideas fast, cheap, and with minimal effort. I have a really good step-by-step playbook that I'm going to take you through. And even if you've already built your product, let's say you're one of these students at MIT that I meet, that's, oh my God, I've already built something, Farzad. Did I waste my time? That's okay. We're going to talk about ways we can validate your product even if you've built something. And I don't care if you're aiming to be the next billion-dollar company or you just want to have a lifestyle business or a lucrative side hustle. We're going to talk about steps that actually matter, that actually get you to the place that you need to be before you start building. My name is Farzad, and over the last decade, I've helped launch 4 startups, and I've worked with over 400 founders that have launched their startups, scaled their startups, pivoted their startups all over the place, including Y Combinator alumni who've gone from near failure to growing their company now to multi-million dollars in the 12 months that we worked together. I've been there myself. I've seen both my clients and myself pour thousands of hours, thousands of dollars on things that nobody wanted. And I've seen founders who are very experienced. Again, one of the Y Combinator founders I worked with that have made the same mistake year after year, despite having the best names in the industry be their coaches and their mentors. Early validation can be a make or break, and doing it right is everything. So in this video, we're going to talk about all the things that I've learned, the playbook that I've come up with, and it's going to be a simple and fast 4-step system that I've created to stick around. And at the end, I'm going to answer some of the most common questions that I see come up. Some of these questions are like, hey, I've already built like 80% of my product. Am I doomed? Is it over? And things like, okay, should I like charge money? When should I charge money? How much should I charge money? What about NDAs? Should you make people sign one or just forget it? We'll answer those as well. And on top of that, I have created a 5-day free course. It's a mini course that you're going to take, and I'll walk you through exactly the approach, like the tools to use, how to talk to people, all that good stuff. And you can get started with lesson 1. Just click the link in the description and you can sign up for that and just start validating literally today. So here's the roadmap for validating your startup idea before you spend a single dime or a single hour of your precious time. It's a 4-step process. Step 1 is going to be persona hypothesis. This is where we pin down who you're actually building for. This is literally how humanity has always done this, right? Whether you're a caveman or you're a top scientist here at MIT, you make a hypothesis first. You say, okay, I think if I put these things together, they're going to make a bomb. In our situation, we say, I think if I solve this problem in this particular way for these particular people, I'm going to have a company. That is essential. Number 2 is market and competitive research. Now, I think in the past and bigger companies, they spend too much time on this. We can look at what others are doing that isn't solving problems. We can look at bad reviews. Number 3 is community engagement. Listen, you don't have to go out there and talk to tons and tons of people. It's very time consuming. You don't have to go to events. You don't have to call people. There are smaller steps we can take that can give us some signals. And that's going on Discord, going on Reddit, going on Facebook groups, going on Twitter communities and talking to those people, or finding the existing conversations that have already been had. And then number 4 is the holy grail. It is the part that everyone has to do. And it's user interviews using the mom test methodology. You got to get that raw feedback from users. No flattery, no guesswork, none of that crap. And again, if you're halfway through building your MVP, don't worry. It's the same steps. We can retro validate. We can always pivot. What's important is that we're not wasting time. So let's get started with step one, that persona hypothesis, and answer the question of who are we really building this for? If you skip identifying your real users, you're going to end up like building a product for no one and everyone. And it's exactly the experience that I had in college. I remember my freshman year, we were doing this startup weekend event. And over the weekend, we were supposed to come up with ideas and validate those ideas. And it was like the first time that I had been taught, oh, you should talk to your users before you start building something. And it was like the 12th or 13th call. I was talking to this farmer and he just told me, hey, look, son, like, I don't care about the stupid thing you're building. What I care about is being able to shake someone's hand and look them in the eyes and know that they are someone I can trust. The product that we were building was a marketplace to connect farmers with each other so they can sell to each other better. As a child, I remember we would go to these farmers markets in Kentucky and my uncle would buy his chicken or try to sell his sheep. And I just always felt like it was so inefficient. We were waking up so early, driving like an hour, 2 hours. Sometimes we didn't have enough room and then they had to pay for delivery and all this like crap that I just didn't understand it. So to me, I was like, of course, we can just build a marketplace and these guys can just talk over the internet. But once the rubber hit the road, once I talked to these farmers, we realized that we were building a product that insulted a system built on trust. These people have a problem, and that's a problem of trust. It's not a problem of efficiency. So there was a clear persona mismatch that killed our idea right then and there, thankfully, so that we don't waste time building it. And we were able to quickly know this is a fictional character. Maybe there are farmers out there that have this problem, but it definitely wasn't the people that we were going after. Why does all of this matter? If you don't know who your user is, then it's all guesswork. So you just end up building something no one wants because you think it's an everyone app. So let's talk about how we actually do all of this. Step one is let's just draft a quick persona. Give them a name, give them like a real sense of who they may be. We don't want to spend too much time on that persona. This is what we did in the past. What we really care about is figuring out what are the issues that this persona has, right? So are they dealing with a set of problems that currently have alternatives, but then those alternatives suck? Why do they suck? And then how do we come in with our value proposition? What are we doing that's better than the alternatives that exist for them? List those out. You can put them in like a table. So one column is problems, one column is the corresponding alternatives, the other column is the corresponding reason those alternatives suck, and then the last column is our value proposition. The more you're able to articulate this, the better. Think of this as like a metacognitive activity where you're thinking through your thinking, trying to articulate that there's rational reasons for the hypothesis you're making. Oftentimes, we do this alongside what's called a think, see, feel, or do framework. We ask ourselves, this person that we've made, what are they thinking? What are they seeing? What are they feeling? What are they doing? It can really give life to this problem and solution set that we're coming up with. So we're drafting our persona. We're doing the problem, alternative, value proposition, and the think, feel, and do part of it. Then we want to get into a screener question. Think about those farmers. There might be farmers out there that actually hate going to the farmer's market and waking up early, just like I did. But I need to find those people. So we need to have screener questions. Things like, hey, how often do you go to this farmer's market? Hey, do you enjoy going to this farmer's market? What do you like or dislike about this? And if we hear that this person goes often and they really dislike it, then we know, okay, this might be someone that we actually want to talk to. Once again, if you've already started building your product, it's okay. You can do this retroactively. Just stop what you're doing, stop building, go talk to users out there. Okay, so now we have our persona and the set of questions we might ask. We want to get into market and competitor research. Now that we know what the problems are, the alternatives that customers might use, and the way we can bring value, let's go out there and learn about this problem. Let's go see, are other people having these problems? Are other people using alternatives? And do people ask for something better? And that ask is alongside what we're thinking of building. So I recommend a couple things, a couple tactics here. First, there's some search tools that are really good. I always start with something like Perplexity or ChatGPT or Claude, doing a combination of both the internet search, but also utilizing the LLM's internal knowledge to ask it, hey, who do you think has these problems? How do you think they solve these problems? What alternatives do they use? Why do these alternatives suck? Do you think this ways of solving these problems is better? That's your value proposition. Tool that I like using is reviews. Go on G2 Crowd, go on Trustpilot, go on Reddit, and see what people are saying about this product. Look at the one-star reviews, look at the negative sentiment, see what it is that they complain about, find that market gap. Is there a market gap there? And then number three, there's some really good AI tools I recommend. There's Buzzabout, there's Gummy Search. These two can help you find the conversations that are happening on the internet. So Gummy Search is really good for finding the right places on Reddit. Buzzabout can do everything. It's Reddit, Twitter, Instagram. And you can see again, what are people saying about this set of problems that I'm trying to solve? And what are they doing about it? What is the conversations they're having? I faced this real time with one of my clients recently. Let's call him Josh. And Josh was like, oh, I'm going to build this B2B analytics tool because now we have all this amazing AI stuff that can interpret all this data that we get and build great dashboards with all the information you need. And what was nice was that when me and Josh, he's a smart guy, he went to Yale, when me and Josh sat around and we looked on the internet at the tools that he was trying to build a better version of, the same thing kept coming up. Because he thought we're going to build something for the CFO and he's going to be able to have a deep, complex understanding of everything. But what we saw coming up was that actually the non-CFO people hated these tools because they're too complex, they're hard to set up, they're hard to understand. And normal people, those of us who don't want to be in the numbers all day, just need a simple dashboard to look at. And oftentimes now the internal team and the RevOps team has to build these dashboards, and it's a pain in the ass. So the market gap that we identified was, oh, how can we use the data that we already have to build easy to understand dashboards? Because the complex stuff is already there. The CFO is happy. It's the rest of the team that now has to build these dashboards. Okay, so at this point, we've used Reddit and other things maybe to get a sense of what market gaps exist, but there's much more we can do there. We can engage with these communities on Reddit, Discord, Twitter, Facebook. Go there, actually talk to users, not just look at the conversations they're having and get that early feedback. There's a couple places that I really like to start. Step one for me is just go on Reddit and join the entrepreneur subreddit, the SaaS subreddit, the startup subreddit, but then also find the subreddits that are associated with your niche. And there's literally thousands of conversations there and you can learn so much. So go there, see what conversations are happening. Then you can start engaging with the community. And I'll tell you about how to engage with them in a way that doesn't piss them off later. We do it on Reddit, then we're gonna go on Discord. Discord is a place people are having so many conversations, and every niche has a Discord now. There's a tool I really like, it's called disboard.org. You can go on there, search whatever niche that you want, find people that are in that niche and doing what you're trying to do. Then there's Facebook groups. We all know how to use Facebook groups. Just search on Facebook, find it. Last thing is Twitter. What's cool about X is you can DM people, there's tags and whatever, but then there's X communities. And X communities is something people aren't utilizing that much for startup validation, but they can be very helpful because it's newer and more niche. So you find these places, you find these communities, you're ready to engage. How do we engage with them? How do we get engaged with them in a way that gets us responses and doesn't get us banned by the Discord mods and the Reddit mods, which we all know how they're like? Instead of saying things like, oh, here's my product, or I have this idea and come buy it, come sign up for it. We got to start with engaging the community on a question basis, on a curiosity basis. Often things like, has anyone struggled with this problem? How did you fix it? Or has anyone tried using this tool? What did you think of it? I'm having these problems with it, right? So earlier in what we did, hopefully we identified some tools, those alternatives, and we identified problems with it. Now we can go on Discord and say, hey, who else has had these problems? And then when they respond, people love sharing their tips and they love complaining about tools. When they respond, then you can reach out to them privately and say, oh, great. Can I talk to you more about it? Can I ask you some questions about this problem you've had or the experience you've had with this tool? That's how you get started. And the ones that bite lead us to step 4, which is the user interviews using the mom test. This is the holy grail, guys. You gotta do this. It gives you the best signals because you have direct interviews and you have them in a way that's effective, right? Not in a way where you're pitching and you're offering people free trials. Anyone is going to sign up for a free trial. Anyone will give you their email and say, sure, I'll try it. But in a way that actually validates, is this something they'll go out of their way to pay for? So what do? We don't pitch our idea. Instead, we ask people about their actual experiences and frustrations. We ask them things like, how often do you have this problem? Why is it a problem? How have you tried to solve it? What did you dislike about solving it the way you did? How much have you spent time and money on trying to solve this? Are you happy with the solutions that exist? And then once we have a good understanding of those things, right, then we can get into, okay, how much would you pay to solve it in this way? How much would you pay if this kind of solution existed? But we can't get there until we do that classic mom test of asking them hard-hitting questions just about the problem. Again, we don't want to talk about our solutions until the very end when we make sure that this is a right fit customer. And remember, again, earlier in the video, we talked about those screener questions. That's important. Those are the first questions you want to ask them. You want to make sure this is the right audience for you, right? You don't want to be selling a AI tool to someone who doesn't believe in AI. Right? They need to be someone who believes in AI, and then they need to have the problems you're talking about, and they need to not be satisfied with the current solutions. That's how we get there. And listen, skipping this kind of stuff can kill your company. Even a Y Combinator alumni, one of my clients that I love the most, you can see his case study on my website. His name is Todd. He went through Y Combinator in 2012. And this is what happened to him. They were ignoring their ideal persona. And what was funny about Todd and his team is they knew it. They've been doing this long enough to know who their ideal persona is and the problems they had. But in this search to build the everyone app, to build the $1 billion company, they kept just throwing things out there. But once we worked together, in 12 months, we were able to shoot his revenue up to 25 million from where it was. It was a crazy increase. Once we started talking to his users and revalidate and figure out who are the ideal persona and stop working on the parts of the product that weren't bringing that much value, we were able to get his revenue from, I think it was like 3 or 4 million up to 24 million. And that's the power of truly listening. So let's get into the common issues or Q&As that founders always ask me. The number one thing that always comes up is, hey, I've already built so much. I'm already 80% through my MVP. Does this mean I'm screwed? And I say, no, just start doing interviews now. Let's talk about the second question that I often hear. How do I do large scale validation interviews? They want to pay for some tools like user testing or Winter, or they want to do surveys. And I always say, no, don't do those yet. Maybe we can do them in the future, but first we need to sit down and talk to users. And why is that? Because up until we talk to users, we are only making assumptions about the questions we should ask them, the types of users we should talk to, and the types of information we're trying to get out of them. We can only validate those things once we've had very open-ended conversations with users. And then we can know, okay, these are the types of questions we need to ask on my large-scale survey. So hold off on those, talk to users, and then you can get into surveys. The next thing I often hear is, hey, I have a hardware startup or I have a consumer app. Isn't that different than SaaS and B2B? And the answer is no, this is the same thing. You still need to make sure your customers want it. You still need to make sure the existing solutions aren't good enough. You still need to make sure that the way you're thinking about solving it is better than what's out there. And I'll throw a new idea out there that anyone can use, and that's called the fake door test. Pretend there's a door there and see if people open it. And in your case, we're going to pretend like there's a product there and see if people want to pay for it or people want to sign up for it. So build a landing page, do the mock-ups of your product, let them sign up, let them go all the way to the page where they have to enter their credit card. See if they do it. And then just stop it there and say, oh, we're on a wait list, or, oh, we're actually having technical problems, come back in a month. That's a really good signal if people are going that far. One of my least favorite questions is people ask me, do I need NDAs? What if people steal my idea? What if I have proprietary tech? And I interview people and they take it away from me. It's not going to happen. No one has the passion and expertise you have. No one is going to have the deep knowledge that you have about the subject. I've almost never seen this happen. And if you Google it, no one talks about this happening. The only people who complain about this are your uncles that say, oh, I had all these ideas and people stole it. It doesn't actually happen in real life. So the last thing that I often see come up is people say, I don't have a co-founder, I don't have money. How do I start? How do I pay for a co-founder? How do I hire a team? Hey, if you don't have a co-founder, go find one. Just give them equity. That's okay. There's all these great tools. There's the Y Combinator co-founder matching tool. There's a couple other tools that I'll put in the guide that I'll send you. Reddit even has a community for finding co-founders. Ideally, of course, you find co-founders in real life, people that have been friends of yours. The data seems to show those people do best, people that have known each other for a long time and worked with each other. But even if you don't have a co-founder, that's okay. There's a lot of amazing talent on Upwork of people who live in Pakistan, people who live in Thailand, people who live in the Philippines, who you can do mini contracts with, mini gigs with, and have them help you create the idea. So don't let that be a blocker for you. And nowadays, there's even all these amazing free AI tools that can help you get really far ahead. I talk about all these AI tools like Bolt, like V0, like Cursor in my guide. So you'll get all of that. So what's the takeaway? What's the action item here? It really is to follow that 4-step simple formula. Let's go over it again. That's the persona hypothesis. Make sure you know who you're building for so you can go out there and see if they exist. It's the market and competitor analysis, right? Go out there and see, do people say the things that you thought this type of persona actually says? Go out there and engage with the community. Go on Reddit, go on Discord, talk to these people. And then lastly is the mom test. Sit down, have deep, meaningful conversations, open-ended conversations, but in the right way. And if the signal is strong, keep going. If it's lukewarm, you got to pivot. And if it's a total meh, let it go. Find something else. So guys, if you want to skip the guesswork entirely and get started, I do have that 5-day mini course, and lesson 1 will land in your inbox right away. It's going to tell you exactly what tools to use, the language I like to use, and all that good stuff to get you started. Thanks again for watching. I really want you to test fast, to pivot early, and to never build blindly. I'll see you on the next one.